Minecraft Java Edition is the version that started it all, including my own Minecraft career, but it's not always the better version of Minecraft, as all sorts of Bedrock features like this, or even this beautiful thing are not found on Java. As one of the very few YouTubers playing Bedrock on YouTube, am I crazy or do I have a good reason for playing it? The answer is, of course, yes. I love the weird, wacky, and fun world of Bedrock and find Java to be full of issues. Let me explain though, since even though I started playing Minecraft Java in 2011 before switching in 2012 to console, I don't think it's a terrible game. It's the version of the game that really made me fall in love with Minecraft. I don't think it's inferior, and even if you look at the last time I played it on this channel, it was to beat the game on a super flat world, and the whole thing is linked down below, but just for some highlights, you can see there are lots of things I enjoyed in that run, specifically about Java. Wow, even though it's a super flat world, there are still structures. Wow, that includes this stronghold floating in the air. Oh, it's amazing that I can not only go to the Nether on super flat, but also health regeneration works in a reasonable way on Java, which means I don't have to sit in a cave for a minute every time. If you eat good food, your health goes up accordingly. That's amazing. Also, because you can dual wield anything you like rather than an arbitrary list of items, I can have my food in the offhand to make that even easier. Then when I get to the end, I can actually use water buckets because you don't have to be outside of water to move it, so it works like a ladder. And then also when the dragon hits you up 300 blocks on the air, which is a weird Java exclusive issue it seems, you can actually MLG water bucket and reliably save your life. I love all of these features, and you can see I beat the dragon on the Java Edition, and I did it as recently as December, which means I think that I'm allowed to come in here and say that I don't like a few things that Java does. I think there are lots of problems with Java, and there's a reason though, even though I have full access to the Java Edition, I still prefer Bedrock, and allow me to go through those. So yeah, with that said, if you are new around here, I'd appreciate a subscription because I do try to spread the message about the weird things about Bedrock that make it different to Java, as well as the latest updates and news and whatnot. So if you'd like to see that, please do subscribe. But otherwise, let's talk about what it is that makes me not like Java and indeed prefer Bedrock. So I do have to say, I don't like that although all of these great things happened on Java, the world did run a little bit worse. My render distance did have to be cut down significantly. Admittedly, I'm kind of used to that because I play on Realms on Bedrock a lot, but I did find that it just ran a little bit stranger, especially between dimensions. I also found the combat to be hard to adjust to as a survival player because even though you have two hands, they both work very strangely. And so when you're terrified, you spam click by default, which on Bedrock would save you from a situation, but on Java, it causes, well, this. Also, the only way to bridge on Java is to do it effectively blind, something that is very scary. There are a few weird techniques I've seen to get around this, but it is something that is very hard to adjust to, and I also think it's cool that the two versions work basically the same. If I knew about how piglin trading worked on one, I knew how it would work on the other. There were differences in the Nether between versions, particularly with these weird ravines I only found on the Java version, but overall I liked that I could vaguely understand how the game worked, and I could do so well enough to beat the game on my first attempt. Okay, well enough to beat the game on my second attempt because the first time I tried, this happened. You know, I'll just kill this piglin, it might be easier. No! 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 Honestly, it'd be very easy to bash Java, and I think I could have a very popular video just tearing down Java and having people who love and hate Java both go on it and be very angry. However, I mostly play Bedrock not because I hate the addition of the game, but because I actually like Bedrock. And maybe you won't believe me about a top 5 list, so here you go. Top 5 reasons that I like the Bedrock edition of Minecraft. Number 5 is one-click mods. Obviously, there are more powerful mods on Java. There's much more featured mods on Java, but if you just want something for curiosity, which is I feel like where most people are with them, you can install any mod, texture pack, or world with one click, or 2 clicks if you use the store, of course. The APIs to make this work are always improving, so even though add-ons aren't as good right now, after every update they get better. This is one of those few things where there's no parity version of it, in the same way that Java is just always going to have a Nether roof where you can build on top of it, and apparently where they're always going to have these weird redstone things that are different. The Bedrock version of the game is just going to get better and better one-click add-ons because they're building the game from the ground up to support this functionality. Number 4, easy adding people to the game. Have you ever tried to invite people to a Minecraft world? I think the easiest way is usually you just make a realm on the Java Edition. That's the way I've always done it. You can do it in lots of ways that involve downloading mods, which aren't as easy, and you know, it shouldn't be as hard as it is, but you can't just one-click play with people. On the Bedrock version of the game, you add someone on Xbox, because Xbox and Minecraft are the same accounts, and then, in fact, if you have them added on Xbox already, you're good to go. You just invite someone to the game, or even better, Either you can open your game to all friends, which it is done by default, which I have issues with, but in general, it seems to be pretty good for this. And then they can just join your game. Whoa! You can have up to 8 strangers just join you this way. It can go up even higher with some weird player count things. And honestly, that's pretty darn cool. But it's not as cool as the third reason, performance. Here's what Minecraft looks like with 100 chunks of render distance. But 100 chunks of render distance on a relatively decent PC is entirely achievable on the Bedrock version. On the Java version, you get 32 chunks. If you download a few mods to improve performance, you can get closer to 64. But it's one of those things that ties back into mods. And I know that, like, you know, when you're really into something, it seems ridiculous everyone else doesn't do the thing. I mean, believe me, I've made videos about that very point. However, when it comes to mods, everyone acts like it's so easy to just install the right 6 or 7 mods, which will give you the perfect performance boost to get most of the way to where Bedrock is by default. But the bigger problem to me is there has to be some trade-off to these mods, right? If they're improving performance and Minecraft, you know, Mojang hasn't done it themselves, there's got to be some reason they can't do that. Is it reliability? Is it, you know, something about the way things simulate? I don't know for sure. Maybe Mojang's really lazy and there's literally mods doing what they need to do themselves and they haven't bothered, you know, taking some of the ideas, but it seems weird to me. And so just all of that fear and thought is something you don't need to think about on Bedrock, where you can have super high render distances unless you're recording, but that's, you know, that's a me creator specific issue. When I'm just playing Minecraft casually, I can see so far. You can see from my sugarcane farm all the way to my torch desert. It's incredible the things you can see, and yeah, I love that. But what I also love is the controller support. The controller support is something that is a very big deal to me. I feel like we can make a whole video about why I play on controller too. It's another one of those controversial opinions because I have a keyboard and mouse, and I use the keyboard and mouse for situations where I have to use inventory management real quick. So speed running, or if I'm fighting a boss, I'll usually switch out to keyboard and mouse. But I like playing on controller, and at the very least, I think that I'm worth the option of playing on controller. What do you think, Internet? Do you think I should play the version of the game that doesn't let me play the way that I want to by default and has made no efforts for it? Or should I play the game where it's supported by default? There is, I think it's called Xmapper, and there are different tools you can use to play Java with a controller, but personally, it's nothing compared to having it be natively supported in the game, especially if, like me, you switch around PCs a fair amount. You don't want to have to be like, oh yeah, let's reinstall all these same things. Personally, I think that's a big difference. I guess all of this comes down to, at some point, everything you can do on Java, you can do on Bedrock, you can do with Java and mods, even the fun exclusives, which is my #1, but I don't think you should have to. I think that underwater minecarts, having a stronghold that spawns, you know, like below a village, so you don't need to have IFNders to find them all the time, you have a vague idea of where they should be, and also whatever this terrain is, okay, this is a fairly recent find, but, you know, Bedrock is just filled with weird generation, weird extra features, and honestly, really beneficial notes about how you can find things. I know the Bedrock edition of the game, and I know that, like, you should look below a village for a stronghold, and I love when these things turn out to be true, and ultimately, I think that's the reason people play something. I think, you know, I'd be lying not to say the real reason here is not any of the 5 things I just listed. The real reason is cross-platform support. I am one of those freaks who plays Minecraft on my Xbox. At least I used to, until the Xbox version had so many crashes that I just had to switch over. But like, you know, I am one of those weird people who likes to play Minecraft on a console. If you've never tried this and you have an Xbox or PlayStation, if you have any console that is attached to a living room TV and you currently play Minecraft on a desktop for the Java edition, give the Bedrock edition a try there is my recommendation. Some things are going to be weird. Some things are going to be hard. The first time you try crafting, which by the way, I love auto crafting on a Bedrock compared to Java, but the first time you try crafting the weird way, it's like, oh, this is odd. And there's all sorts of other differences to do with healing or combat or the way that mobs react to you. They seem to have very different behaviors on Java and Bedrock when you punch a cow. But these are all relatively small things. Ultimately, Minecraft is Minecraft, and if you try playing it on a living room TV, you might really enjoy it. A controller isn't the perfect optimal way to take down the dragon and MLG bucket if you're you. I mean, I personally find it's just fine to do those things, but you know, it might not be your preferred input mechanism if you're not me, but you actually will enjoy it a lot. I think even playing Minecraft on a phone is something that you should give a try if you haven't, because Minecraft is one of the best cross-platform games out there. It actually works well on every platform that it's on, and that is the true testament to Bedrock Edition in my opinion. As someone who started playing on the Xbox Edition, the ultimate reason that I actually switched over to Bedrock is not because I wanted to, it's because the console edition was superseded by it, which meant that all of my worlds I could play an old version, which I actually just did for quite some time, and then eventually I could move it over to the Bedrock Edition. The realist answer to the question, why am I playing the Bedrock Edition, is because it basically was forced upon me. At first, I found it so strange, and honestly, it was so bug-filled and strange that I found it odd. They were bringing in a bunch of consoles into the fold, as well as Xbox and Pocket Edition, and having all these different platforms be able to crossplay was an incredible achievement, but it also came with an incredible amount of bugs. But now the game is in a state where it's like, yeah, I actually like the Bedrock Edition, and I can try and make a dozen arguments about why, in the same way that Java players can make dozens and dozens of arguments about why they love their edition of the game and why it's objectively the best. But ultimately, we all have our preferences, and we sometimes try to backwardsly reason like, oh yeah, the reason that I really love these people and this thing that I definitely do is because of the features that it has. The reason that I like Apple devices is not because I just happen to be involved in the ecosystem and it's hard to get out. It's because I really love the way that Steve Jobs or Tim Cook or whoever's in charge of that, they just design such good phones. They're so easy to use is what you definitely care about when you're on your 15th iPhone. And it's the same thing with people who get at a console war about Xbox versus PlayStation. Let's be honest, you play on the platform where your friends are. You play on the platform that you have more familiarity with, because switching controllers is a little bit hard. And honestly, this is where a lot of people are with more things. If we could just admit that, like, yes, there are some things we have inherent biases towards, and a lot of things where we just are kind of lazily going with what we've got, then if we could all say that, I think we'd all have a better experience, because we could actually share new knowledge rather than coming up with backwards reasons about why we like Java, why we like Bedrock, why we like playing on one thing or the other, or why we love the brand Smartwater far more than we like Dasani. Dasani is piss water, that's what it is, and Smartwater is what the kings drink. Oh, I can't believe you've got all those lame nerds over there who think that drinking Evian is cool. They don't know about Smartwater. It's got electrolytes in it. I think I know what I'm talking about. Also, Reed's bottle, there's magnesium in here too. Wow, I drink magnesium water. Do you guys drink the lame stuff? This is the argument we get with things, and I think it's much better if we're open and we just say, yeah, I like this the way that I like it because it is the version that I've played for so many years. I would probably become a Java player if I played that a lot and got really into the modding scene and worked out which one of those things I wanted, but ultimately that's not who I am. I've always had this mission, because a lot of people on YouTube will see tutorials with comments saying it doesn't work on their version. A lot of people on YouTube will be like, yeah, I play Minecraft but on my Xbox, so let's go see how this works, and they'll find nothing that's very useful for them. Since the very beginning, the reason that I've started making videos on this channel, the reason I started making Minecraft videos was because I thought people would like to see something different about the Xbox version of the game. That did eventually become sort of the brand on the channel, I'm sure you might have noticed, but it's one of those things that I really do think is important, that when you're playing on an edition of the game that you're not so familiar with, there needs to be someone there who's like, yes, this is how this works, this is what's great about it, here's how things work here. Seeing someone actually play the version, because there's so many things that are different between Bedrock and Java, having someone actually play the right version of the game that you can watch is something that I think is worth doing, even when it's really hard to explain to people that, like, oh, Java's this, Bedrock's this. Even when I have to explain, yeah, there's that we just can't do this on Bedrock. It'd be fun for me to pretend we could, but we can't. And ultimately, this channel is, to some extent, now based around the fact that, yes, I play Bedrock, and I think that is an important task. That is why I try to have these tutorials to teach you how to do things. That's why even when I'm building something fairly stupid, I hopefully am showing you a weird way to do something that you might not have considered, and that is why I play Bedrock Edition here on this channel. I hope you all enjoyed this video, I hope it answered your question, and I hope you have a very good day, because I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.